Okay, we're back and we appear to be live. So let me just,
All right.
think, do I need to refresh? Guess so. All right, I'm just trying to see if it's working. Does it say we're live? Well, OBS says we're live, but okay, yeah, it looks like we're live. All right.
Okay.
So,
All right.
all right. So I will see. Okay, I'll tweet it out so that people know I'm live again.
Okay. Trying to set on the hold it.
Yeah, I wish they would like. I have a gaming PC, and I wish they would put. I think they're going to put like Streamlabs OBS on to Mac, but they haven't done that yet, and like that's makes it easier than because right now I'm using OBS Project, and it's more of a pain. Um,
Yeah.
but I have Skype set up on this, so let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna tweet it out. All right, for this fun. Let me copy the link. All right, this link is. All right. Okay,
Okay.
so where were you in your story?
I was trying to think where I was. Yeah. It's not even just like that these mental health places are putting like APNs in that aren't even finished. I guess they're still in their school, still getting schooling before they can get like their doctorate or whatever. I'm not sure that much. I just know that usually APNs is who they put at, like, if you're in a treatment facility, like an IOP program or something,
Hmm.
usually that doctor will be an APN. They'll bring in,
Well,
um,
you should still tell
but with
them that,
that,
like, you want to at the very least reduce the Seroquel because that's a very high dose for sleeping.
I know it's just like, to me, it was kind of scary how, like, nobody seems like it's a big issue, at least in my area. Like, pretty much everybody that I know that has some sort of mental health issue, that's what they prescribe. And
Yeah,
it's like
but that doesn't mean it's the
nobody
right
really,
thing, and
nobody really knew anything. I just started hearing about it, like, not even just from your channel, but I was doing my own research, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know this stuff was as bad as it is, especially
yeah, I
since I've
mean,
been on
Seroquel and
for
Haldol are
so long.
very similar types of medications. Like all these antipsychotics they're all work by blocking dopamine to some extent, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can make you like depressed, because like dopamine is known to be like increase your mood, and these medications do the opposite. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
and they really
Exactly.
should. They're primarily effective. They are relatively effective for treating like hallucinations and delusions. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
take them for 6 months, like most people who say are schizophrenic will have like all their hallucinations and delusions go away, but they can actually make other symptoms like the negative symptoms worse, like lacking motivation sometimes and like inability to feel pleasure. Those are often considered negative symptoms of schizophrenia. I don't even know if the negative symptoms of schizophrenia really exist, or if they're not, or if they're really just the side effects of the medications. You know, but yeah, these are primarily like
I went through a
anti-schizophrenic
lot too
medications. What'd you say?
because, oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. What are you gonna say?
um, I dated this person, and they were diagnosed as a schizophrenic, and he was on all these medications, and then he got into some trouble, and he had to go away to jail for a little while, and obviously he wasn't on the medications. He got off of everything, and like all his symptoms like disappeared. Like nobody even really knew why. It was most likely something happened when he was younger. He needed medication, and then it seemed like, how can it just go? How can that just disappear? He had like a voice in it. He heard the voices and everything,
Well, that's the
and then
thing
it
is that
just
like
okay.
in my video on how to cure schizophrenia, lots of times schizophrenia does go away permanently without the medications. You know what I mean? So that's the thing is that, hey Steve, welcome back. And that's the thing. That's why I made that whole video on how to cure schizophrenia. It's like if you ask shrinks, most of them will tell you that yes, it's true. And if like they deny it, once again, like you can show them like the studies that say that like at the minimum like schizophrenia will go away on its own 21% of the time. And if you take
Mhm.
the medications, you can take them for a short while. A lot of times, if you take the medications and all the symptoms, the main symptoms that those antipsychotics will treat, like will are the hallucinations and delusions. And if those go away, and like maybe you wait like 6 months and then discontinue the medications altogether, um, anywhere from like maybe like okay, a minimum of 20%. It goes away a minimum of 20% of the time, and it could potentially go away up to 75% of the time. But the thing is, they want you to believe that you need to stay on these medications for your entire life, and sometimes some people do, but that's the thing. Like you said, there are a lot of examples of people that do have things like schizophrenia that goes away. So the idea that it's not curable. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm
The
still
idea
here.
that
Sorry.
it is like technically curable in the sense that like you don't have it and you can like and you won't necessarily need medications for the rest of your life. Hey,
I
lollipop.
just that happened before. It was crazy. It was just really weird to me. But like you're saying, yeah, you've
And
obviously
you
got a
haven't
lot of.
had like with because some people with bipolar experience like hallucination delusions. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, no, no.
You haven't
I've
had that
never had any sort of. You know what?
because not all people with bipolar have that, but some do.
I had a psychotic episode one time, but I don't know why, what triggered it, what happened, and I was pretty much on everything that I'm on now. Maybe no, maybe at the time I was on Depakote and Risperdal. I was on.
Okay, so Risperdal is another like antipsychotic.
It
Risperdal.
was weird because I blacked out
That's about the same
and
kind of. That's the same kind of thing as like Seroquel, basically. You
yeah,
don't. Yeah.
yeah, I just like blacked out and apparently I did all this crazy stuff and I don't remember any of it.
So it caused you to
Uh,
black out? Because I have heard about other people who have had blackouts from taking antipsychotics.
yeah, it might have been like, and I had told like my doctor
That's
about
very
it,
interesting.
and he, I don't know, minimized the dose of something. I don't remember at the time. This was a while ago. This was like in 2009. I'm kind of shoddy with some of the dates because well, in March I'll be 30, and I've been being treated, I guess, for my mental health since I was 19 years old. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I was showing symptoms of these things like at 16, but it's hard to tell when you're in high school if it's just that angsty stage or whatever. Even when I was 19, they're very they take a while to diagnose. I know that much at least. Um, I didn't
Right.
officially get like a diagnosis until I was like 22.
Yeah.
Even though I had been in and out of the hospital, in and out, they really didn't like
So
put
so you
down
do
what
diagnosis
was wrong.
as bipolar,
Yeah.
and so you only were had a brief psychotic episode, but then never again.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No.
Right. Okay.
Um,
So that's good. So
I
yeah,
don't know. I
sometimes
don't know
psychosis
whether
can
to
come and then it can go.
attribute it to.
And this is even true. Like I said, sometimes full-fledged schizophrenia, in which people have had will have like a psychotic experience that goes on for years, it can then go away. Sometimes it goes away on its own. Sometimes like the medications can actually help it go away, but then you can discontinue the medications and they won't come back. For some people, it will
Yeah.
come back, but a lot of people like it's in the that in my video top three most dangerous psychiatric drugs, and also my video on how to cure schizophrenia. Over the long term, most people are actually better off not taking antipsychotics for their entire lives. But it's more profitable for the psychiatrists and the insurance and the pharmaceutical companies if you do.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
you're not the only person who has experienced like blackouts from antipsychotics, and that could happen with
Yeah.
like Seroquel as well. The Seroquel is
Yeah,
just as dangerous as
I wonder if
Risperidol.
I was on Miracle at that time or not. I don't think I was
Yeah, but
at that
Risperidol is just as dangerous as Risperidol. These medications are all very similar, like Risperidol,
That was when
Seroquel.
I saw a couple of years ago because I just didn't even feel like it was doing anything for me.
Yeah,
Um, the Lamictal and the Wellbutrin, those together seem to be the best combination
Le-
for managing my mood and um, the mania and the racing thoughts and all that stuff. Um,
Lena is saying Risperidol is a terrible medication. I had blackouts on a few antipsychotics. Yeah, so she's experienced blackouts from antipsychotics as well.
okay,
And
yeah,
like they don't talk about that side effect that much, but I've heard about it. They
yeah,
do affect
I
your
really
they
feel.
can impair your memory, and sometimes even if you don't experience blackouts, I do hear about people like who take them and like it gets harder to remember things. I mean, I'm not saying they have full on blackouts, but it's like it's just they notice that it's harder to remember things, and it like hurts.
No, like that's like, and that's another thing that's been concerning me. And as I've been looking more into like Seroquel, is like I am noticing that in the past like year or so that I've been having like memory problems worse than I've ever had.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
I don't think like in a year just because I'm turning 30, all of a sudden my memory shot like completely.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
You're too young for that, and
Yeah,
it is true. Like a
exactly.
long. That's the other thing is a long term use of these medications can lead to like Alzheimer's sometimes.
And it already
I'm not saying you
it
have
already
full
runs
fledged
in my
Alzheimer's, but
family.
it could increase.
Also, like I feel like I'm screwed as it is with all the medications I've had to take, and it
Well,
runs in my family. I'm like, I'm probably gonna have Alzheimer's. Sucks, but
well, okay. Well, you see, that's the thing. So if you're already at a risk for Alzheimer's, then that's another reason to try to discontinue the Seroquel and to try to avoid antipsychotics if you can. Look, the main thing antipsychotics work for is psychosis, meaning hallucinations and delusions. Um,
yeah,
they
exactly.
don't really work for like the kind of delusions that people who have dementia have. They don't really work,
Yeah,
but like there are some people I know that they try to use them as mood stabilizers for bipolar, but like there are better alternatives. And frankly, like maybe like if psychotic depression, they might help because like if you're having hallucinations, but if you're not having hallucinations or delusions, they're not really a very safe choice. They're not a safe choice
yeah,
even if you are having hallucinations, delusions, but they're effective for that. And like
yeah.
300 milligrams is a ton of Seroquel. Like
Mhm.
that's no. I don't. You should ask what justifies that high of a dose and say, look, you don't have to take this. You can tell the doctor you're not going to take the Seroquel anymore, or you're going to take less because look, they can't just if the only reason why they're giving it to you is because you might have insomnia. They can't like force you to take it because that's not the kind of
Yeah,
thing that they can. Well, you can't force a hospitalization on someone because they're not taking a sleeping pill. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And like it's
yeah,
best if you can like taper off the dose slowly. Though I would recommend you do that. I mean, at
yeah.
least get down to like no more than 25 milligrams of Seroquel if you get insomnia. You know what I mean? Or probably
The
ideally none. You know what I mean?
is I started off with 50 milligrams, and it wasn't even that long ago.
Oh,
And then they slowly worked me up to this dose.
oh
And even
God,
I think it's a
300.
high
What the
dose
fuck?
personally.
Linda,
Like,
Lena wants to know if you still have the blackouts.
no, I only had that one
And
blackout.
that was from Risperidol.
I had an incident where I took Ambien and had a blackout from that, but I know that that's a common thing. I'm sorry, I have to go grab my charger. Sorry,
Okay.
my phone.
Yeah, because she's only taking like she's putting out 300 milligrams of Seroquel for insomnia. Like, I gotta wonder what psychiatrists are thinking when they do that. You know. Oh, because if it's not benefiting, your bipolar, then it's absolutely pointless to put you on that high of a dose.
I mean, I'm gonna have trouble
Thank
sleeping
you,
as it
and
is.
thank
I
you
have
for
a kid.
this is the jacket you gave me, Linda. Holy pop! Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I had to take everybody with me to get the charger, but the phone's gonna die,
It's
and
okay.
I'll just get it then. Sorry. But yeah, that I don't know why. Like it's just so and it's really really common. Like where I'm at, that's what's prescribed.
Yeah, it's common where I am at too, and they like to prescribe those antipsychotics for sleeping. A lot,
These
it's
high
in a lot of
doses too.
places.
These high doses.
Yeah, it's ridiculous though. I mean, like even in the like, if there's only like two studies done on like Seroquel for insomnia. Those studies were done at much lower doses, and one of them concluded that it wasn't really even that effective for insomnia. The other one concluded that yeah, it's effective, but too dangerous for that purpose. So like and look, these drug like Seroquel is a blockbuster medication. It's now like generic, but like the drug companies they knew about the off-label usages, and if they could have gotten it approved for insomnia, they would have, because insomnia is a huge market, and it would have sold even better if they had it actually approved for insomnia, but they couldn't get it approved for insomnia because it's far too dangerous to be approved for that purpose. Because the FDA always takes into consideration, do the benefits outweigh the risks? And when it comes to insomnia, the benefits don't outweigh the risks for Seroquel.
The other issue is the fact that because I'm in recovery, they're less likely to give you something like Ambien because it could be habit forming.
Yeah.
So,
but like trazodone that's why I was thinking trazodone is not.
Instead, because that's great.
That
it
one is
doesn't
not
matter wherever I go because like when you got mental health issues and then you're also in recovery, you get treated like a drug addict everywhere. At least here you do.
Yeah, that's true. And it's
Anywhere
unfortunate.
when they see that on your chart, I was treated horribly when I went through the delivery of my son. Nurses were talking crap outside the room about me. It was really awful.
What were they saying? Like, you might have asked.
Well, yeah, I had to put in I definitely put in a complaint for that because everybody's probably like, what? Yeah, like, they said, I wasn't really in that much pain, that I was like faking how much pain I was in, but it turned out I had a urinary tract infection while I was in labor, so that's why I was in so much pain. I didn't know. I've never had a kid before. So the nurses apparently outside, they were like, and then they were like trying to see, they were like, oh, I think she'll stay. Nah, I think she's going to go home. Like they were betting on like whether I was going to go home or not or have the baby too.
Yeah. I mean, like certain, like, okay, like Ambien is very mildly addictive, but not really. It's the main thing is when people say they're addicted to Ambien, what they mean is they depend upon it for sleeping.
Yes, exactly.
Benzodiazepines are mildly addictive. They're more addictive than Ambien, though. But like trazodone, that's not really considered addictive at all. And like that's the problem. That's part of the reason why they want to prescribe Seroquel for like insomnia, because they go, well, first of all, there's a lot of people that find that addictive too. There is like people that buy it on the street.
I know people who buy it on the street. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, especially people who like take a lot of speed, like to use it as a crash medication, and and the thing is, it's not a controlled substance. But the part of the problem with medicine in America today is like addiction is not the most dangerous thing. There's problems with addiction, but that's not necessarily the worst thing about a medication. There are medications that are very dangerous that are not addictive. Like there are like chemotherapy medications that are say far more dangerous than say heroin, but they're not addictive. So I mean, addiction shouldn't necessarily be like the number one worst thing. But like even then, like okay, Ambien is really like you don't really get high off of Ambien. Like mostly it's just.
He gave it to my husband. My husband has some mental health issues as well. He's a vet, so he had an injury in his head, and then just the PTSD from being through war and everything. And he had issues like he's in recovery as well. He's been in recovery a lot longer than me, but they gave him Ambien recently because he can't sleep. And they had no issue giving it to him, but it's always seemed like to me that was always like what the doctors said was going to work the best for me, sleep.
Yeah, you know what?
But now as I'm finding out this and talking to you and seeing your video the other day, it's like,
well, ask the doctor why is it that the FDA would not approve Seroquel for the purpose of insomnia, but they would approve Ambien, at least for the purpose of short-term insomnia, because they won't approve Seroquel even for short-term insomnia. Ask the doctor why they would never do that, because it's not like the pharmaceutical company didn't know that people were using it off the label. In fact, they were caught illegally promoting it off the label. And the reason for that is, I'll tell you the reason.
Oh.
Like all this research showed that it's too dangerous for that. So I mean, and tell that to your doctor. Like if the doctor says, I don't know, well then tell them, because like these pharmaceutical companies, they're smart. They know about the off-the-label usages, and they also know that insomnia is a huge market, and if they could get Seroquel approved for that, they would. You know what I mean? But they can't, because it's considered too risky for that purpose. And if it's not, and like I said, trazodone, that's not considered habit forming. I mean, I know that you say, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that trazodone is perfectly safe. I'm not saying that Ambien is perfectly safe. I'm not saying that any of these is perfectly safe.
Any of these they all have risks.
They all have risks. But like one thing is, I did mention, and some people like just a guy like a couple days ago was giving me a hard time over like, I did say that like benzodiazepines are safer than Seroquel for insomnia, and like these kids, some of these people don't know what they're talking about. Like they're like, oh no, you know, benzodiazepines are more dangerous. That's just not true. I mean, I'm not saying that benzodiazepines are always safe, not at all. Well, but they're definitely safer than antipsychotics. They're definitely safer than antipsychotics. And there's a reason why the FDA has approved certain benzodiazepines for insomnia, but never will approve Seroquel for insomnia, because it's just too dangerous for that, you know?
That's the thing too, is I'm prescribed Klonopin as well for panic attacks.
Okay, yeah. So you're already taking
on top of the Seroquel, but I don't take them at the same time or anything. But
because I mean, does that? Okay, so could that help you? Would you take that just when you have a panic attack?
I'm prescribed it 3 times a day. I don't always need it 3 times a day.
Does that help you go to sleep?
It's 3 times a day or as needed, so it's technically still a PRN, like an as needed thing. So.
Do you ever take it just to go to sleep?
I could, because there's like a window for myself when I can take my Seroquel.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I won't be able to get up with my son in the morning. You know what I mean? So I usually take it as early as I can, so I can get to sleep and am able to wake up to get him. So.
Yeah, you know, I just got like an over-the-counter remedies for.
I could take my 1 dose at night, and it probably would put me to sleep. So it probably is a good idea for me.
Yeah, so if you can
and then just use that instead, because I'm sure it does have that effect.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's a benzodiazepine, so it does have. It can be used for sleep, and if you know, it's ideal to like have people. You know, I mean, it's good medicine, and like this is what doctors are supposedly taught. Like, you know, if you don't need to use as many medications, then that's better, you know. And so if you can, I mean, since you're on such a high dose of Seroquel, I would think it's safer to like taper off of it instead of just discontinuing it cold turkey. But
I know. Yeah,
but if you can like discontinue it and just use like the Klonopin, that would be ideal, because then you wouldn't be adding a medication, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because the end goal too for that too is not to be on. But that's another thing though, is then they don't want you on the benzodiazepines that long either, because that's what I mean. Like the Seroquel is like here in Jersey, they will prescribe you Seroquel over a benzodiazepine any day. They would never never, just because of how bad my area is with like drugs and stuff.
Yeah, well, but okay, so that's why I say like if they trazodone though they shouldn't have a problem with, because trazodone is not considered habit forming at all.
Yeah,
it's certainly like Seroquel can be more habit forming than trazodone, or at least trazodone is no worse than Seroquel, at least on that regard. So you know. And Ambien, that's just, when people say they're addicted to Ambien, what they mean is they can't go to sleep without it. They're not really getting high off of it. I mean, I know there's going to be some idiot that tells me that they're getting high off of Ambien, but like that's very rare. I hope you will have your doses lowered. This is in my chat. Lena saying it. You are so young. Don't lose yourself in these medications. They will really give you long-term tremendous difficulty. Yeah, I mean, look, if you can treat your insomnia without medications, that's ideal, of course. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there are other things, like some people find melatonin to be useful. You know, I just started taking last night, like ZZZ Quell. I'm not going to recommend it, but like it is an over-the-counter remedy. uh,
Yeah.
maybe it's some sort of antihistamine that. I mean, I'm okay. I'm not in a position to recommend it, but it might be kind of good for sleeping. I mean, I'll say this: it's not as dangerous as Seroquel. I'm quite comfortable saying that, and it's
That's
over
why
the
I was
counter.
looking
So
into the medical marijuana thing too,
yeah, if
because
that can help you too, then
I know for a fact that that puts me to sleep.
okay, yeah. So
I
you
know.
can do that too.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, you can do that too. And like there are some like if your ordinary doctor won't do it, like at least in California there are these marijuana specialists
Uh-huh.
that you can go to and tell them your situation. And sometimes they'll ask you for verification that you actually have the problem that you have. But you if you're already going to a doctor,
Uh-huh.
you can verify it
Oh,
because like
yeah,
you
I'm
always have the
actually
right you always
always.
have the right to your medical records, so you can share your medical records with a
Yeah,
you
I'm
know
on disability, so.
yeah,
Uh,
and you have doctors that have diagnosed you with insomnia, so
mhm.
you can show them your medical records. Like, so you
Yeah.
might look up to, I don't know how New Jersey works, but if there are like cannabis specialist doctors,
Yeah, they're just started putting. I just heard of another place that opened,
like if you go to
a new
Normal's
doctor,
website, I think you can find some cannabis specialist doctors there.
because to me
You know,
that, I don't know, is a better. I know that's a better option.
yeah,
So, and I really don't see anything wrong. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, but I just don't see anything wrong with it. Um, Even recreationally, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, it's
like
legal here
a whole nother
recreationally
can of
now.
worms.
It's legal in my state recreationally, but
Yeah, I can't believe that alcohol is legal and that's not. So
yeah, I mean, because alcohol really is like technically like a hard drug, no matter how you look at it.
it really is. It really is.
And I'm not saying alcohol should be outlawed, but the thing is, like, a lot of people, because alcohol is so socially acceptable, people don't realize just how dangerous it is. I mean, it's probably like equally as dangerous as cocaine. But I know that's hard for a lot of people to accept. I mean, people say, well,
Yeah,
one glass of alcohol won't kill you, and that's true. But like one line of coke, and I'm not trying to recommend that anybody use
yeah,
coke,
yeah,
but it is true that like one line of coke probably won't kill you either. I mean,
yeah,
they're both very habit forming, but it's. I mean, alcohol is a hard drug. It's not a soft drug, but marijuana is definitely like a soft drug.
yeah. That's just what I always. I don't know, because I always kind of, even though I've done it recreationally, I've always kind of tended to like it to sleep, and it puts me to sleep. So if that's something that's gonna work, and that's something that's less, and also you don't have to smoke it. I know I was just smoking a cigarette. I'm trying to quit trying.
Yeah,
Is the
and
but
and if like your current doctor doesn't want to prescribe it, like you can try looking for like a marijuana specialist because they usually understand because like a lot of doctors are scared to prescribe like medical
well, that's
marijuana.
the thing is
Even
like
though it's
here
even though it's
here
safer than even though it's say
not
it's a lot safer, they'll be more scared to prescribe it. So
no, the people that's the thing is you have to go to that doctor, like basically like that's why you have to go to a marijuana specialist. Like just not anybody can prescribe it here in like Jersey.
okay,
You
yeah.
can't.
But like the thing
Yeah,
is, like
thing is
since
you
you do
go to
have
a specialist.
documentation that you have like insomnia, like they
Mm-hmm.
might ask for your medical records, but you can document that you have insomnia since you already have been diagnosed with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like don't sometimes they worry they don't want people going to a marijuana specialist and like saying making up something. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, if you already have another doctor that has diagnosed you with something, then that means you can share your medical records with them because like you have the right to like tell your doctor to share your medical records with another doctor and also with you.
Yeah,
So you can
yeah.
so you could do you would they would likely accept you as a patient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because me and my husband have both been talking about we both want to go look into doing that rather than being on all these other medications. Just knowing all the dangers of everything. Everything has like what did I have a bad experience with? This was only like 2 years ago
Hey
when
Haley.
Latuda came out.
Oh, that's another
Um,
antipsychotic.
yeah, my doctor gave me that to try for a mood stabilizer, And I woke up every morning feeling like I was 70 years old. Every muscle, bone hurt in my body. It sucked. And I stopped taking it, obviously. But then the doctor, I couldn't believe, he was like, "Do you have any unopened packages?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Can you bring them back to the office?" He was going to give them to other people.
Yeah, yeah. I guess because like, they give you free samples and stuff.
He had the samples or whatever that I guess he was
Yeah, I mean
trying
that's one of the biggest ways that they market your medications because that one's still under patent is by giving out free samples. But hey, at least
yeah,
you didn't have to pay for it. At least for you were able to try it without it because Latuda is expensive. A lot of insurance companies refuse to cover it. Like Seroquel at least is now generic, so it's not as expensive. But Latuda is
yeah.
expensive. Um,
Medical is still expensive, even just generic,
yeah, that's
because
true.
like a lot of insurances are not covering it now. I know that.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think TRICARE does.
Yeah.
Or TRICARE, they cover a very small list of mental health like medications if you need any help. Unfortunately, which is why like my husband, like, even though he's a vet, we don't use TRICARE
Right. Right.
because they're that basically it's like Zoloft, that the stuff usually they try people out with first.
Steve says, by the way, if you want to watch the chat yourself, you can like open my YouTube channel. But Steve says, like, um, oh, he's talking to Lena. Okay, okay. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking to. Never mind. Go on.
I was trying to see. Um,
Yeah, so like it does seem like it's not if the Seroquel is not helping you with your because you already are on like what two medications for bipolar, and if Seroquel is not
yeah,
improving your bipolar,
antidepressant and then mood stabilizer.
and you
That should be taking care of it.
And you may want to
And
like try to reduce your dose of Seroquel like over the course of a month at least. Just I wouldn't because you're on a high dose. I wouldn't want you to stop cold turkey because there can be some problems. But like if you can like maybe over at least 4 weeks, like some people will say that you should take like 10 months. That might not be necessary for most people, but like maybe over a period of four
that's
weeks.
kind of a long time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a long
exactly. But like
10 months. It's a
yeah,
long time.
so, I mean, so you can try cutting your Seroquel pills in half. You know what I mean? If you get a pill
Yeah.
cutter and like see how well you do with that, you know, because
Oh,
like
it's gonna
Seroquel for
show.
300 milligrams of Seroquel for insomnia is absurd.
Crap.
I don't know
Don't
what
tell me.
psychiatrists are thinking when they do that, especially if
Yeah,
it's
I
not
don't
benefiting
know.
you
And
in
it's
any other
just
way.
like I seriously like every person I can think of that is on any sort of mental health stuff.
Yeah,
They take
the
stuff.
shrinks want to put everybody on antipsychotics. If it's not Seroquel, it's some other antipsychotic, and like everybody, it's a really these medications are not intended to be used for everything under the sun, you know. But the drug companies have really been promoting it that way as well, and that's why like Abilify, like Seroquel before it like lost its patent was like one of the most profitable medications, and I think like Abilify, which is another antipsychotic, I think in 2013 was the number
Oh
one
yeah, I
most.
was prescribed that one too.
Yeah, that's another one.
I
That
had
was like the most
uncontrollable
profitable
muscle
medication.
movements in my legs.
That was the most profitable medication. I think it was 2013. Like the number one
Okay.
of all medications for anything, it was the most profitable. You know, so and it's a real problem because like these antipsychotics are being overused, and shrinks just love to prescribe antipsychotics. And
My phone is dying. It's not letting me charge it while I'm on Skype.
oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
afraid. I'm
Well,
afraid it's just gonna shut off.
well, I mean, I guess we can end the interview here, but I think it was a really good interview.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was.
Yeah, I'll leave it up on my channel. It might take like I guess a little bit of time to process, but you know, it should be up on my channel pretty soon. And I'll leave the
Yeah.
link to your channel. Like if people want to check out um, the Miraculous Foxxx channel, I have a link to that in the description where they can check out your channel.
All right.
So
Awesome. Yeah. And sorry I couldn't. I don't see in the chat, but hi and bye everybody. But I just don't want my phone to just.
you know, and like I don't, even though like I'm not a doctor. Look, like here's the thing. Like my attitude is like, you know, remember doctors are working for you, not the other way around. And I like to educate myself about what I'm taking and like show the doctors that I'm educated, because like look, they're giving you way too high of a dose of Seroquel for like insomnia. But I guess we lost her. But it's like, yeah, that's just way too high. And like, yes, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that sometimes the doctors don't know what they're doing. And when psychiatrists are giving people 300, first of all, I don't think that you should ever use Seroquel for insomnia. But when you're giving someone 300 milligrams a day of Seroquel for insomnia, that's absolutely ludicrous. So I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to thank the Miraculous Foxxx. And I probably should have these. This will be a 2-part interview, but I'll have it up on my channel pretty soon. So thank you all for coming, and hopefully I'll be broadcasting again soon, probably either here or on Twitch. And have a good night, everyone.